Hi, I'm Thomas Negovan. We're talking about magic, symbol, and the transcendence of language. These are the top 10 questions that we've received. What's the first one, Chandra?
What is this book about?
What is this book about? It's about symbol as an omnipresent force through our culture and the way that that converges with the art and the action of creation. Symbols are kind of like a base level encoding of our consciousness. It's something that moves past the way that we perceive language and really gets down into the cracks of our operational system. And so the way that we look at symbol, whether it's tracing your hand on a cave wall and making a statement of identity, or the ways that through each culture, the relationship to the idea of the universe expanded, and the ways that symbols changed. It's just it's a subject that I think about a lot as an art historian and someone that's very interested in the language of symbol. And Grant thinks about as someone who is an art aficionado, but as a practicing magician and as someone that's made the perception of magic as an active part of humanity's course, part of his entire body of work. And I thought it would be really interesting for me to present what I see to him and get his perspective on what I'm saying, first of all. And then second of all, he's a creative thinker, nudging him to give some speculation. Because that's where I think some of the really exciting things happen. So the book is a conversation. It's kind of like getting to listen in on two people that hopefully know a lot about different subjects that have an overlap, kind of banging together and seeing if we can't add something new to this ongoing conversation that's been centuries of people theorizing about what some of these things mean.
Why present this conversation between you and Grant Morrison as a book?
I like books, number one. Number two, I've got a lot of books like these. Things that were written in the 1890s and the teens and the 20s. And a lot of them are like from the Theosophical Society, and they're not meant to be like definitive textbooks. They're meant to be part of a dialogue that happened a lot in the 1880s through the 20s that were meant to be kind of culturally discussing spirituality and metaphysics and I feel like we're at a really weird place right now in history where we're under the dual boot heels of mediocrity and oligarchy. And so I just wanted a book like this. I love these so much, and they were so inspiring to me when I was younger. And I wanted to make something like that. And I was thinking, God, who would be, I don't know, I mean, I could have done it, I guess, but I felt like I really am inspired by things that Grant Morrison has written and what he says. And I thought, it'd be even more interesting is what if I put some of my beliefs to the test and get ideas that I couldn't have predicted. So it was a combination of wanting kind of to move into uncharted territory for me intellectually, and also a lot of the things that we make are based on things that I grew up on or discovered in my years in the realm of art and artifacts. And that's what it is. It's a lot of these small books that just have always been so inspiring to me, and just wanting to see something like that out in the world right now.
Why do physical books still matter?
Why do physical books still matter? I think that we're physical creatures, and we live on this planet. And actually, I woke up in the middle of the night last night, and it was almost, I don't know how to express it. It was like my brain was like, what are the edges of what's real? And I was thinking about what I was thinking and a reaction to it, and then physical reality. And it was almost, I don't want to say kind of panic attacky, but it was like, where are the edges? And so I think that the reason that I like playing piano, and the reason that I love physical books, the reason I love living in nature, the reason I love these things is that I'm a step away from being a brain in a jar. Like, I'm thinking all the time, and it's also speculative. And with the internet, we're just overloaded with so much information that has no relation to your life. Cultures that you shouldn't have an opinion about, but you want to because it's necessary. I need to comment. And so, to me, books are I had said this recently, like, used bookstores and libraries were always my houses of worship. So to me, the closest that I get to the idea of understanding eternity or God or existence or any of those things has always been books. And I think that there's something about the ritual of needing to hold something physically and take the information page by page at your pace. And then, the magic part of, magic in a romantic sense of just opening up to a random page and reading a bit or a line. I just think books are special. I think they're important. And it wasn't like this thing happened and I thought this would make a great book. It was, I want more books like this. And I feel like a lot of things that might come out like this might be a little saccharine. And I thought, well, what if it was more like the Theosophical Society or the Rosicrucians, the heated debates of the Invisible College. And so I know I said this before, but the thing I liked about doing this with Grant is that we've been friends for so long. I knew that disagreements would be fun and friendly. So I may think something and he may say, you're absolutely wrong, and it'd be fun. And hopefully vice versa. That if I disagreed with him, it's like, well, this is all speculation, who knows? And so to me, I guess it's just a book is there's one other part of this, which is that we're so disparate in our physical locations. And so my idea for this was like, well, what if it existed outside of time and space? This book from this is 63. But this book, I'm in 1963 in that thought when I picked this up. So the idea that we could put this book together, and no matter where you are in the world, and no matter what year you read it, you're coming to this convocation. The idea that it's kind of like, I was inspired by the Invisible College hundreds of years ago. I was, of course, there's the connection because of Grant with the Invisibles, and it made me think about, well, that's what he and I both love, the Rosicrucian salons of the 1890s and the Theosophical Society of the same era. And so the book for me is the doorway that when you open its pages, that you're going to be able to be in your moment as a physical creature, but then spiritually and intellectually connected to the moment that we're presenting. It's a lot of answers.
That's good.
For one question.
That's good. Who do you think this book is for?
I love how earnestly you're asking me these questions.
I earnestly want to know.
Who do I think this book is for?
Yeah.
Me is the answer. It's the kind of book that I would want to read. And I feel like usually when I'm working on a book, I'm kind of thinking about someone. When I was working on the Animalia book, I was thinking about our friend's daughter, and I was just thinking, this will be cool for her when she's older, like that kind of thing. And for this one, it's like, is there someone that I was thinking about? I was thinking about me. I was thinking about how I love this kind of stuff so much. I was able to find so many of these things in like used bookstores in Chicago back in the 80s. And you just don't see them around anymore. And so in the same way that like I wanted with the Le Pater book to create an exhibition that people could carry with them, with this it was like, these were formative books for me. And I may not have agreed with everything in them, and they were by no means definitive. But it was part of a conversation that I was having with myself that then I could have with other people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the internet should have been that, but it's just become this cesspool. So, I would think that this book that we're doing, this is actually the size of it. It'll be twice as thick, but, it's for me, because I want to see something like this, but then there's also the idea that there's someone out there that's like me. And maybe they're 10 years older than me, or maybe they're 30 years younger. But reading it, that's the biggest thing I think I would say, is that this is not meant to be one of our big definitive books on, like, this is the full exhibition. It's meant to be an ignition point. It's meant to be a point where you think, I think this is really interesting. I agree or I disagree. And this thing that got mentioned, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to go look it up. So yeah, that's the answer.
Well, Century Guild is known for art books.
Yes.
You are known for art books and art history. Why did you want to publish a book that is text only? It's your first one.
I think it's, selfishly, it's what I was missing. We'd been doing these Bibliomancers collaborations, and I'd been really pulling out a lot of my older books, again, that were in that realm of mysticism, and I was having so much joy going through those that it was, the possibly too much information was that Grant and I were talking about doing something in that moment with Grant's wife, Kristen, and then I was like, well, this would be cool. And I was like, but I could do this. And I was like, well, this would be perfect to do with Grant. So it was kind of, as a lot of ideas are, there's a lot of things that kind of rattle together and then, fall into a sphere. And so I'm talking right now, not fully remembering what the question was.
Mostly the question is, this is... First, a statement. This is Century Guild's first book.
Why textbook?
That is not illustrated. It doesn't have artwork in it.
Okay, so the thing is, like, this could be a massive book where you really show visually and you really break it down. But on one hand, I don't know that I'm the person to do that. I don't know that I have time, number one. And number two, I feel like that could get so painfully academic. And I'm not saying I couldn't do it well, but it's such a big subject.
Yes.
It took 20 years of research and 3 years of writing just to do Le Pater, which is ultimately one day, December 20th, 1899. I don't know that I want to spend 5 years on a symbol book, but I know a lot about it. I was really excited to hear Grant's thoughts on it. And so that's why I keep coming back to the idea that this isn't meant to be a definitive book. It's meant to be part of the conversation. It's meant to encourage more discussions. And I think that doing it text only it's the right way just to focus on the ideas really quickly.
What do you hope people take away from this book?
I mean, my ultimate hope would be that people would be more aware of the ways that they're manipulated or programmed. That if we're speaking personally, that's the hope. We're such a reactionary species, and our culture is becoming increasingly more reactionary. And then you get even further into the idea that we're losing touch with language. We're getting overwhelmed by sensory input. And so the corporations and the oligarchy and all of these manipulative elements that are fully aware of how humans can be steered, they're doing it. And a lot of us are thinking, oh, someone that disagrees with me is the sheep. But I know. And meanwhile, you're just being manipulated by a different set of protocols. And so there's the entertainment part, which is I really love. Like, I had a lot of fun sitting down and tracing the first symbols through the modern era and breaking it into chapters. Like, for me, that was a lot of fun. And then as I started to look at it, it was like, okay, so Egypt is almost like a machinery of how the universe works. Well, then you get into the Greek and Roman myths, and it becomes very emotional. It's like not a sitcom, like a soap opera. And so noticing the way that culture was evolving in relation to these symbols and the way that those affected how humans interacted with their world in terms of altering their universe. That was really, really interesting to me. But then when you say hope, that does come to the end where there's that hope for transformation.
That's excellent. That's everything.
That's the last question?
That's the last question.
So I guess the last thing that I would just say is that I'm really excited about this book. It is a new thing for us. We're known for big, beautiful art books, but it is all connected. When you hear a band that you love and then they do a country song in their set and you realize, oh, well, there is an origin to like what people are inspired by. I think that an understanding of symbolism, an understanding of spirituality and metaphysics, all of these things dramatically increase your ability to understand, interpret, and live with art in a more meaningful way. So I would say that if you're a fan of our art books, I think this will be a really beautiful addendum. I'm really excited about it. I'm really proud of it. I think if you just like beautiful art objects and are willing to take an afternoon and read something that's kind of like an interesting lecture or something, I think you'll come away with some interesting talking points and hopefully be entertained. If you're a fan of Grant's, you know that he is someone that you can put a microphone in front of and let go, and you're going to get things that you never expected. I feel like that's present here. And then just beyond that, if you're tangentially interested in these subjects, there are books that are dictionaries of symbols. There are books that really academically trace lineage. But the thing that this does is it takes two people that are very opinionated and very educated, and lets them bang heads a little bit. And I think that sounds unique and interesting and exciting. And if you do, then I think you're really going to love this book. So that's it. Magick, Symbol, and the Transcendence of Language. I hope you pick it up. Thank you.